If you want big harvest this summer, well, today's planting day is one of my absolute favourites. Today I should be planting melons in the poly, sweet corn out into the plot, and I have a space-saving tip when growing squash. Start here in the polytunnel, where today is the day I want to plant out on melons and watermelons. Now, I've already made the hole and it's been pre-watered, as I do with everything these days. I just find that the plants are much better when you do it like that. They could grow downwards as opposed to growing upwards. So there is our watermelon. This one actually is, if I can get the soil off, a sugar baby. It's growing really nicely. It's got its first true leaves and it's got an established root ball. And all we do is pop that in there, backfill around it, and there she goes. Now you notice there's no string on this, and this is because they're going to grow along the back of the poly behind these tomatoes, and it will be the same on the other side of the polytunnel. Now it is hot, and when it's hot like this, although you've pre-watered the hole to help those roots find the water there, you still want to give them a good watering in. And for the next week or so, ensure that you keep on top of the watering. It may be that you need to water those every 2 or 3 days, just until they've established themselves. It is actually currently in this tunnel at the moment 30 degrees. That's about ideal for them. But it will get much hotter than this as the day progresses. And so when you do have young plants, regardless actually whether they're in the polytunnel or out in your plots, for the first week or so, do make sure you keep on top of your watering just until they are established. We've actually grown 2 varieties this year, because we weren't overly successful with, well, in fact, we weren't successful at all. We saw some little tiny watermelons, but they never amounted to anything, did they, Mrs. W?
No, so must try harder this year.
Yep. So we're going to grow 2 varieties. This one is Little Darling. And hopefully increase our chances of getting these to actually produce a watermelon for us. Now I have to say that one of the biggest successes that we had last year was in using this harvest watering system. And you can see where we've been using it around these tomatoes. Look how well these tomatoes are looking. They've been in here, what, 2 weeks now, is it, Mrs. W?
Yeah, 2 weeks today, I think. Yeah.
And it cuts down on the amount of time that you have to water. You can even be sitting down and watching YouTube, and on your phone you can schedule it to water. And we've had these around here, but now what I can do is to move this to here so that both the tomato and the watermelon will now be watered. I've already seen that several of you have already gone on to purchase the harvest watering system. So do let us know how you're finding it and how you're getting on. We've found it's really improved the yields and the harvest that we get from this polytunnel. They are also suitable for greenhouses too. It's not just a polytunnel. And as always, you'll find a link in our description which will take you to their website. You can speak to Aaron. He's obviously very knowledgeable about this system. And there is also a discount code in there too. One of the great joys about having a polytunnel is that you can actually extend the growing season, but also you can get things a lot earlier. A prime example is this here. These are some strawberries that we've been growing in this polytunnel in these hanging baskets, and they work really, really well. And I've got a lot of work to do today, Mrs. W, so I can do with some sugar.
Don't tell our granddaughter this. She had her name on that one, Grandad. looks lovely. First strawberry of the season. Oh, I will.
I leave
actually.
half for you.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, that's
So
lovely.
sweet, so sweet.
Oh, what's the date? 17th of
May.
I nearly
Yes.
said March then. 17th of May. First strawberry of the season. Lovely.
Can't beat it. Next, we can move on to planting the actual melons. Now, we were really quite successful last year, and we got 6, 7 melons in total.
I can't remember exactly. We got a few. We didn't do
We'll
too
have to look
badly.
back on that video.
Yes,
won't we? Just to see. But what we thought we'd do is to try some different varieties this year. Some are the same, and some aren't. This happens to be a new one, which is called Mango Mel. And because melons will grow upwards, we shall be using the string method like we have with the tomatoes. And that really has established itself well, Mrs. W.
Yeah, it's got a lovely root system, that one.
Yeah. Now, melons, they need to be, like tomatoes, a minimum of 18 inches. If you can give them more room, all the better, but a minimum of 18 inches. This year we've changed things around a bit in the polytunnel. The tomatoes are at the front and the melons will grow towards their back. And these will be removed and put over to the other side where we have lower growing tomato plants. So as and when these get to the height, these will then be moved. So let's pop you in there, backfill that firmer in, and then put this here. Just like the tomatoes, it wants to be taught. Job is done. The next variety is one we did grow last season and was really successful for us, and that was Hearts of Gold. Sounds a bit like your description of me, Mrs. W. I think not, folks. Pop you in there.
I don't know. You're all right.
I'm all right on a good day.
Yeah.
Firm him in. That's all our melons planted. The other varieties that I've planted are Amir, Pepito and Havana. They're all new to us, so it'll be really interesting to see just how they perform. Now, I should be really glad to get out of this polytunnel because it's really very quite hot. We're up to 32 degrees now. But on the way out, we'll just take a quick look at those raised beds that we made right at the beginning of the year. Salad onions are doing well, and these little gem cos letters look amazing. We've even got beetroots that are almost ready, Mrs. W.
Superb.
But what will be very pleasing to you, look here, we have our first pea pods
Oh gosh.
on these
they're-
Kelvin Wonder.
Yeah. They're ahead of the alderman.
They are.
The alderman do have flowers on, but
They
no
do.
pods yet. Oh,
They do.
fantastic. Not long to wait now.
And you can see on this side that these greyhound cabbages, they're actually now starting to turn in. And that's about right, they should harvest sometime in June. You can see just how compact this cabbage is. And that's why, if I was to recommend one to grow in a small raised bed, it would be greyhound. And you can eat cabbages. A lot of people think they can't grow them in raised beds because they get so big. This one doesn't, it's quite compact. And the onions that you can see beside them, well, they're coming along nicely too. Next, and it's very welcome to be outside actually, I want to transplant our sweet corn. Now, when you're growing sweet corn, you want to plant them out once they get somewhere between 8 to 10 inches tall, and they're ready to go out. You can see that I sowed these into these deep modules. I find that works really well. If you've ever grown sweet corn before, you'll often find that a lot of these sort of root, they look, you know, they root quite a lot on the surface. But by growing them in these deeper root trainers, you're encouraging some roots to go down towards the bottom. And that's really good because there are more nutrients and it can access water further down. So if you'd just grown these in a shallow plug tray, the roots would be around here. And that's why I choose to grow them like that. You can grow them very well by using a shallower module tray. I don't think you've got to rush out and buy them. We could, so that's why I like to use them with this type of vegetable. I've already made the planting holes, and as usual, and I know I keep saying it, but you will find it will help you, they have been pre-watered. The holes are made at 18 inches apart each way. So let's pop you in there. There you go. And then just backfill around it. They want to be planted so that they're at the same level as when you had them in the module tray. You may wonder why I'm planting them here. The reason I'm planting them here is that it's quite sheltered here. It gets a lot of sunshine, pretty much the same as most vegetables that you grow. They need a minimum of 6 hours sunshine a day. At this time of the year, that is no problem. The sun is already there, and for the rest of the day and evening, it will only come right round here, so they'll get plenty of sunshine. But sweet corn do grow particularly tall. They can get to 6 feet or more. And only last night we had some quite breezy weather. And here in the UK, we can get breezy, stormy weather during the summer season. That can rock these plants about, which does them no good whatsoever. So if you are planting yours in a more exposed site, you want to think about maybe getting a cane and inserting it so that you can actually tie it to the cane at some point if you're expecting that breezy weather. Time to plant the squash. Squash are amazing vegetable plants to grow. You can get summer types and you can get autumn types. The great thing about them is that they store. They store for a long time, these autumn harvesting squash do. And really ours, probably ate the last of ours this month, didn't we?
Yeah.
That were there and still healthy. If they're stored in the right way, yeah, it offers great food. And you can get probably 4 to 5 off of each plant, and that gives you valuable food to eat during the autumn months. But like I say, they will store right the way through winter and are absolutely ideal roasted. We love a bit of roasted squash, don't we, Mrs. W?
Do. Yes, yeah.
I'm growing 2 varieties this year. I was only going to do the one, and that was this Waltham butternut. But Mrs. W said to me, we still do have some seed of the Hunter, so why don't we plant both and see which ones work best? Right at the beginning of the video, I said I would give you some space-saving tips, and that's to do with squash, because squash plants can grow quite large. Ideally, they need a good 2 meters between each planting, and they will sprawl about everywhere. Now you can stop them once they get to a certain size, and you really want to do that once you see 5 to 6 fruit on them, because we tend to have quite a short growing season here in the UK for growing squash. Might be different this year. The weather might stay like this for most of the summer and through the early autumn months. That we've yet to find out. But I'll talk to you a bit more about that a bit later in the year. But the space-saving technique, and I've got 2 of them. The first is, now that we've planted our sweet corn, what we can do is to plant these into the ground, and these will intertwine and run between the sweet corn. So it's a bit like the 3 sisters method, it's just 2 sisters. As usual, you just make a hole that's big enough to take your plant. they want to be planted at round about the same depth as they were planted. So I'm going to put that in there and then just backfill around it. And in she goes. And then what I then like to do is to just make like a little well. And that's so that when we come to water, the water actually goes at the base of the plant, because you won't find the beginning of this plant once it starts sprawling. So I know I can come to here, I can fill it up with water and it will gradually soak down. Now in the past on our videos we've told you how to use plastic bottles with a cane in it, and you can fill the water up like that, and they're an easy indicator of where the actual plant was planted. So you can do that. That's a great method too. These days I tend to like to do it like this. If you make the hole deep enough, but only then bring the soil up when you backfill to the level of where it was planted, then you've virtually made your ridge. The next squash to go in are our curry squash, your cheeky curry, and they want more or less the same spacings, but for a space saving tip, if you can grow them up a structure vertically, these plants are amazing at doing that. I have tried it with the butternuts in the past, but I found that the butternuts, when they get big, they get really big. I think if you're going to try and grow those vertically, you probably want to use the cage method, because it keeps the plant more upright. But they are really heavy fruit, butternuts are. Might be something we take a look at next year, Mrs. W.
Yes, could do, could we?
I don't know if Frank uses that method when he grows his. Perhaps he'll let us know in the comments. And you can see here why we say not to sow these too early, because they get very big very quickly. What this plant will now do is it will start to send out tendrils which will help it climb up here. And then this last one here is the honey boot that we grew. These seeds we actually saved. They're from 2022. And look how great they've germinated. This might seem like a lot to plant in one go, but it's all part of how to grow a lot of food in a small space, using different methods like vertical growing, letting things scramble between other plants, and using all of your available space. That's how you can grow lots of food. And no dig, of course, means that we don't have to dig. Once a year we just spread our compost over our plots, whether it be outside here or in the undercover growing spaces. It's quick and easy, because all we need to do is just rake it level and we just plant away. The plants grow really, really well. And in most cases we can grow at least 2 plantings per year. Hello, Poppy. It's a bit warm today, isn't it? Now, Mrs. W has been going around the garden in between filming, and she's been putting the flowers in that we want in our garden. And it does help to attract so many different pollinators. You can see here just how many of these insects are going in and out of these insect hotels. Absolutely loving it. And of course, in return for everything we do for them, they do much for us. Things like the squash that we've been planting out and the melons, we need them to actually pollinate the flowers. Otherwise, you've got to go around all of your plants and do it all yourself, which you can do, but it's another job that you have to do. Apart from the fact that they will attract helpful or beneficial insects into your garden, they're also amazing to look at. I love to see, I can see the calendula, it's out of your shot, but I can see the calendula outside the greenhouse. They look absolutely amazing. Do let me know in the comments, are you growing any of these this year? I love to hear how your plots are actually coming along. We do read them all, and I try to get back to you as soon as I can. If you found this video helpful, then give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to see what our melon harvest was like last year and what we thought of it, then watch this video next. Have a great rest of your gardening week, and we shall see you soon.